Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Mind your business. Only on Money FM 89.3.
Welcome to Mind Your Business with me, Ahmad Akhtar. Renovating a home is often one of the biggest investments Singaporeans will make. It is supposed to be exciting, but it's also emotional and expensive. The renovation industry here is far from perfect, and the numbers reflect that. In 2024, the Consumers Association of Singapore received almost 1,000 complaints about renovation contractors. Homeowners collectively lost more than $728,000 in prepayments when firms failed to deliver. At the same time, demand for renovations is strong. With BTOs coming online, resale flats changing hands, and private condos upgrading, Singaporeans are spending tens of thousands of dollars on making their homes livable and unique, which means the risks are real and the stakes are pretty high. Our guest today knows this all too well, which is why she founded Homepay Singapore, a fintech platform designed to protect homeowners by securing funds in escrow until renovation milestones are completed. So to find out more about her journey, the gaps she's addressing, and what lessons her story holds for entrepreneurs and homeowners alike, we're pleased to welcome on the show the co-founder and COO of Homepay, Wenny Lim. Good morning, Wenny.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming out. Now, of course, your story has also been featured less than a month ago in the Straits Times. It's entitled Me and My Money. She gives renovation payments a revamp to ensure works are completed. And in that article is featured the start of your story, wherein you joined an interior design firm to pursue your passion, but the company unfortunately shut down in just 6 months. So let's start there. Can you take us back to that moment, Wenny? What happened? What did you lose? And what did you realize about how fragile this industry is?
Yes, definitely. It was a big defining moment of my life at the time. When I just joined a firm and the industry of interior design, I was so excited, to chase my passion. I wanted to design homes and build homes for my clients. And then, like you said, 6 months in, the firm's boss decided to close down due to partnership issues. And the reason why it's easy to do that, it's because it's private limited companies. Yeah, so he was able to withhold all the money, the funds, the commissions, not just myself, but some other colleagues as well. And I lost thousands of dollars, even though I had put in the work, the months, and ran the projects across the many months. Yeah, so I couldn't do anything about it. It showed me that the industry was highly unregulated, and firms are able to operate freely, able to open and close down overnight. So making parties like myself as an ID who is self-employed subject to that risk, and even more so homeowners in Singapore are susceptible to this risk.
You mentioned the industry is unregulated, and I guess one of the big consequences from that is renovation scams and disputes, which have been making headlines. We're talking disappearing contractors to unfinished projects. And according to CASE, renovation contractors ranked among the top 5 industries with the highest number of consumer complaints in Singapore, which doesn't really give it a great look. So from your perspective, what are the biggest systemic issues in the renovation and interior design sector here today? Why does it have such a bad reputation?
Correct. Well, actually, there's technically nothing wrong with it being unregulated. The main reason is because renovation is treated more as a commercial service in Singapore. So only specific technical works done by suppliers and subcons, such as hacking, plumbing, electrical, things like that, need licensing. But other things like design, pricing, contracts are left to the open market. So this means that interior design and renovation services can be offered by anyone. Hence, it's easy for firms to be set up. And in the market, there are big firms, small ones, boutique ones, even one-man freelance designers and direct renovation contractors, to give a few examples. So because of the fragmentation, it's quite hard to set a uniform standard or qualifications for businesses and everyone to follow.
Yeah, and it must be equally difficult for homeowners to recover losses. We're talking about $728,000 in 2024 alone. Why is it so difficult for homeowners to protect themselves under the current setup? Where are the gaps when it comes to consumer awareness or even enforcement?
Good question. I would say that because homeowners are often required to prepay upfront for their works before work commence, so this means the IDs can collect deposits or high upfront payments, and that's part of the protocols. And then they can walk away or ghost their clients without delivering. So some traditional scams are high upfront deposits where ID would ask the homeowner to prepay, not just 10%, which is often the first part of confirmation, but they can even ask to pay 50% of the contract first. But the works are not carried out. So a lot of the stories mention maybe a bit of the hacking, a bit of the tiling is carried out, but works, they don't continue because the ID would ghost. The suppliers are not arranged. Hence, there are a lot of delays and uncertainty for homeowners. And then the next thing you know, the firm closed down, the money can't be retrieved. So this is what we call fly-by-night closures. And a lot of the times, the traditional way of settling such nightmares and scams is going to consumer associations like CASE or even small claims. But this only takes place after the mishap has already occurred. So by the time the owner experiences their renovation nightmares, on top of that, they have to go through these procedures which can prolong for many months. So they still can't get back their money at the end of the day.
So these are all problems that you have been trying to solve through the creation of Homepay, a fintech platform. So let's dive into the business model then. How does Homepay work? Let's say I'm a homeowner planning my renovation. What happens once I engage with you?
Yeah, Homepay, we are a fintech renovation escrow payment app. And essentially, we want to protect homeowners from such renovation nightmares and scams. So our escrow payment business model is not unfamiliar, right? A lot of big platforms and companies such as Grab, Shopee, even Alibaba, Taobao, they have been practicing for years, protecting both consumers and merchants. So in the context of renovation payments in Singapore, how it works is with every payment milestone that the homeowner makes, only half is paid out to the ID first. So the balance is half is held in escrow in a DBS custodian account. And only once the deliverables are completed for that tranche can the ID request for payment release. What this does is it really incentivizes the ID to properly deliver their work as agreed. And this gives homeowner even more control to check the work before approving any payments.
Now, behind many of the scam cases was one common thread: homeowners unknowingly hiring a blacklisted renovation company in Singapore. So on the service providers front, what criteria or checks do you have for onboarding interior design firms? What are some of the red flags you look out for?
Yes, actually, we do background and compliance checks, known as KYB or Know Your Business, on the firm. But not just the firm, there are directors as well, because as I mentioned earlier, firms, it's very easy to open a new one even after you have closed down your old one. So if the director has had a shady past or been involved in scams or financial fraud cases before, we would reject the firm's onboarding. But at the end of the day, by a firm onboarding onto Homepay and utilizing our escrow payment system, it brings more protection to their homeowners who are engaging them through Homepay, because the IDs, even though they may have done such cases before, but the escrow payment system allows the homeowners even more control. So by the escrow system, it already is a step of prevention.
We've seen also, Wenny, many cases where homeowners are left with half-done kitchens or living rooms after a contractor disappears midway through the job. And obviously then, in that case, tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, are unrecoverable. If that scenario plays out under Homepay's umbrella, say the ID firm bails or ceases operations, what mechanisms do you have in place to protect the homeowner and get the project finished?
Yes, in those worst-case scenarios, which you see in the news a lot, we have a assurance policy, or so to say, we call it Home Protect, which this safeguards homeowners from such worst-case scenarios of the ID firm closing down halfway through the project. Yeah, we have the funds held in escrow in DBS, right? So we would use these funds to engage another vendor to come in and complete the deliverables. And this is all done at no additional cost to the homeowner. So this is what we have as a mechanism in place.
So would you say you have a perfect track record when it comes to the completion of renovation projects?
Yes, so far we've had 0 cases of disputes. Everything has been solvable and resolvable between the parties involved.
Okay.
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully for the time being. I just want to touch on the quality disputes for a little longer. Another example I want to throw at you is, for instance, when a homeowner says the workmanship isn't up to standard, but the designer insists the milestone has been met. How do you sort of arbitrate fairly between homeowner expectations and designer reality? If you could share some examples.
This is actually one of the trickiest aspects of renovation disputes because it's inherently subjective. Right? What looks fine to a designer may feel unacceptable to the homeowner. So firstly, with Homepay, contracts are uploaded, and these are usually specific to deliverables where milestones need to be measurable. And there are certain industry standards of works that need to be met by the ID. To give some examples, tiles cannot be hollow, paint cannot be patchy, partition walls should be leveled and straight. Right. So if standard works are not done properly or satisfactorily to the homeowner, then the ID would have to provide solutions. And I would say they usually do. They provide solutions. Either that they would rectify or redo the works. What I observe is that usually the disagreements might come down to design and materials, where design is subjective. So 3D renders are very common in the industry, and it's recommended to get your ID to do that before you start any works or pay any contract sums. Yeah, because design does affect costs. But at the most, in any case of disputes, the IDs might negotiate or issue a small refund to the homeowner. Worst case scenario, one party can engage a third party qualitative surveyor to evaluate the works at hand, come to a conclusion of what Homepay should do with the funds in escrow, right? Whether to release the funds to the ID or refund back to the homeowner. So this escrow payment system, in any case, is here to provide both parties reasonable grounds to defend their case and remain objective towards the works at hand, rather than use emotion or more the emotional aspects of the renovation to come to a headbutt.
Bit of a question about timeline here. Does the escrow business model incentivize ID firms to get the job done faster and avoid delays so that they can actually get paid?
Yes, actually that is correct observation. Because for the ID, their motivation and incentivization is that they want to receive their money. They don't want it to be held. So it makes them more incentivized to complete work properly, but also timely. Yeah. Because a lot of the times the firm's boss is not the one doing the work. It's their sub-ID, the designer or the project manager. So these project managers want to get their payments and their commissions once the project finishes. So that does motivate them.
Okay. I think a lot of people listening in will be curious because it sounds like a much-needed consumer protection service, which is all well and good, but it also has to be a viable business because escrow accounts, vetting processes, dispute resolution are all pretty resource-heavy endeavors. So how does Homepay make money? Do you charge homeowners or design firms or both? Is it a flat fee? Is it a subscription or hybrid model? How does it work?
Correct. Yeah, fintech is not an easy business to run or cheap business to run. Well, Homepay is free for homeowners to use, but we do charge a platform fee to businesses in the form of a percentage. Yeah, we do not have any upfront subscription or onboarding fees, but businesses are able to use our app to improve their credibility and trust to their homeowners. They can even oversee all their projects, and prevent bad debts and embezzlement cases internally as well. We allow them to automate their project management and invoicing, and they can use our timeline management tools and grow their business and customer base with Homepay's all-in-one app.
Okay. Are you a profitable business now?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Looking ahead, Wenny, do you see Homepay expanding beyond Singapore or evolving into services like warranties or insurance tie-ups or even rating systems for contractors?
Yes, we are looking to expand beyond Singapore, not so soon, but into other Southeast Asian markets with similar housing situations, like with stacked homes and a highly fragmented renovation and interior design industry. So our goal is to bring trust, transparency and protection to homeowners across the region.
All right, final question. Now, you've gone through two pretty diverse experiences. First, losing out when the firm collapsed. We're talking about your early experience, and then building a business to solve that very problem. What is the single biggest lesson you've taken from that journey about resilience and reinvention that you can share with our listeners?
Thanks for that full circle question. Honestly, my journey taught me, I would say that setbacks are often the best ways to get inspired. It sounds very ironic, but that was so true in my own personal experience. I attended the Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett's talk recently last Friday, and he shared a pointer on that as well. So it made me feel very validated. Yeah, but experiencing the problem firsthand gave me the insight and urgency to build a business that actually solved it. So I'm glad that I did.
All right, great stuff. A lesson in turning a passion project into a profitable business in what is a pretty crowded industry that's difficult to succeed in at the best of times. We've been in conversation with the co-founder and COO of fintech platform Homepay, Wenny Lim. Wenny, thank you so much for your time and insights.
Thank you so much as well.
All right, have a great day ahead and stay with Money FM 89.3.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.